I found out I was supposedly crazy from a stranger on Instagram. Her name was Brianna Chen, and she sent me a message at 11:30 on a Thursday night that read, "I think we need to talk about Marcus." I stared at my phone screen in my living room, the one Marcus and I had renovated together 3 years ago, and felt my stomach drop. "I'm his wife," I typed back. "Who are you?" The typing indicator appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "I know this is going to sound insane," Brianna wrote. "But I've been seeing Marcus for 7 months. He told me you were his ex-wife who couldn't let go, that you were unstable and refusing to finalize the divorce." My hands went numb. "There is no divorce," I replied. "We're married. I live in our house right now. He was just here this morning." The typing indicator stayed active for almost a full minute before her response came through. "Can we meet? I need to understand what's happening. I'm not crazy, and I don't think you are either." We met 2 days later at a coffee shop halfway between our neighborhoods, a deliberately neutral territory neither of us had history with. I got there first, ordered black coffee I didn't want, and sat near the window watching every woman who walked in. Brianna arrived exactly on time. She was younger than me, maybe 28 to my 34, wearing business casual and carrying anxiety in her shoulders. I watched her scan the room until our eyes met, and I saw her recognition, her fear, her confusion all at once. She walked over. "Victoria?" I nodded. "Sit down." She sat, placing her phone face down on the table between us like evidence she might need. "Thank you for meeting me. I wasn't sure you would." "I wasn't sure I should," I said, "but here we are." She took a breath. "I need you to know that I had no idea he was still married. He told me you'd been separated for 2 years. That you were making the divorce impossible because you couldn't accept that he'd moved on? He said you showed up at his apartment, sent him hundreds of texts, that you'd even threatened him?" I felt something cold settle in my chest. "When did you meet him?" "Last June, at a work conference in Denver. He was charming, successful, said he was finally ready to move forward after a difficult marriage. We started dating long distance, and then 3 months ago he moved here. He said he got transferred." "He wasn't transferred," I said quietly. "We live here. We've always lived here. Our house is 15 minutes from his office." Brianna's face went pale. She pulled out her phone, opened her photo gallery, and turned it toward me. Pictures of Marcus. Marcus at a restaurant with Brianna. Marcus on a hiking trail. Marcus in what looked like a modern apartment, kissing her cheek. And then a photo that made my vision narrow. Marcus in a hospital room, holding Brianna's hand, both of them wearing surgical masks. "I had a medical procedure in August," Brianna said, her voice shaking. "He took 3 days off work to take care of me. He brought me soup. He told me he loved me. I was in Maine in August," I said. "My father had a stroke. I was gone for 9 days. Marcus said he couldn't get time off work." Brianna closed her eyes. "Oh, God." I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder I'd prepared. I slid it across the table. "Marriage certificate. Signed 4 years ago, never dissolved. Joint mortgage deed for our house on Belmont Street. Our most recent tax return filed jointly 6 months ago. Bank statements showing shared accounts with both our names." I watched Brianna open the folder with shaking hands, examining each document like she was searching for evidence of forgery. She wanted them to be fake. I could see it in her face. She wanted me to be the crazy ex-wife Marcus had described, because that story was simpler than the truth. "Do you have keys to his apartment?" I asked. She looked up. "Yes, why?" "Because I don't think it's his apartment. I think he's renting it specifically for you." Brianna's breathing had gone shallow. "This doesn't make sense. He introduced me to his coworkers. We go out in public. He talks about our future." "Does he ever stay at your place?" I asked. Her silence was the answer. "He always says his place is more convenient," she finally whispered, "that mine is too far from his work. Where does he tell you he is on weekends? Home, usually. He says he needs downtime to decompress. Sometimes he says he's dealing with you, with your drama. I spend weekends with him, I said. We go to the farmer's market on Saturday mornings. We have dinner with my mother on Sunday nights. Last weekend, we refinished a bookshelf together in our garage. Brianna put her head in her hands. I need to see the house. I need to see proof that this is real because I feel like I'm losing my mind. I can show you, I said, but you need to understand what you're asking. You're asking me to prove my marriage to you so you can accept that the man we're both involved with is living a double life. Are you ready for that? She looked at me with tears on her face. I don't know, but I need the truth more than I need to feel okay. We drove separately to my house, Brianna following my car through neighborhoods she'd probably never been to, past the park where Marcus and I walked our dog, past the coffee shop where we got breakfast sandwiches most Saturday mornings. I pulled into the driveway of our craftsman-style house, the one with the blue door Marcus had repainted last spring. Brianna parked on the street, sitting in her car for almost a minute before getting out. I unlocked the front door and let her in. She stood in the entryway, frozen, staring at everything. Family photos on the wall, Marcus and me at our wedding, Marcus and me on vacation in Greece, Marcus and me at his company holiday party. She walked slowly into the living room like she was touring a crime scene. Marcus's reading glasses on the side table, his jacket on the coat rack, a half-finished crossword puzzle in his handwriting on the coffee table. This can't be real, she whispered. But it was real. Every detail confirmed it. I led her to the kitchen where Marcus's coffee mug from this morning still sat in the sink, to the home office where his work laptop was charging, to the bedroom where his clothes hung in the closet next to mine. Brianna stopped in the doorway of our bedroom, staring at the bed, the nightstands, the intimate, ordinary evidence of a shared life. How is this possible? She asked. How does someone do this? I don't know, I said honestly, but he did. She turned to me, her face streaked with tears. What are you going to do? I'd thought about that question. I'd been thinking about it since her first message, running through scenarios, imagining confrontations, planning my next move. I'm going to let him tell me himself, I said. But first, I need to know everything. Every lie he told you, every story about me, every detail about the life he built with you. Brianna and I sat at my kitchen table for 3 hours. She told me everything. How Marcus said I was mentally unstable, prone to irrational jealousy, that I'd made his life hell during our marriage, how he claimed I'd maxed out credit cards in his name, forced him to move out, refused to sign divorce papers unless he gave me everything, how he painted himself as a victim of my instability, a good man trapped by a vindictive woman who wouldn't let him move on. None of it was true. Not a single word. Our marriage hadn't been perfect, but it had been real. We'd had normal problems, normal arguments, normal life. We'd been planning to start trying for a baby next year. I'd had no idea anything was wrong. Do you want to be there when I confront him? I asked Brianna. She shook her head. I can't. I don't think I could handle seeing him right now, but I need you to tell me what happens. I will, I promised. She left an hour before Marcus was due home from work. I sat in the living room and waited, my mind strangely calm. When his car pulled into the driveway at 6:15, I felt nothing but cold clarity. He walked in smiling. Hey, babe, he called out, setting his briefcase down. Sorry I'm late. Meeting ran long. I'm going to ask you one question, I said from the living room, and I need you to know that I already know the answer, so don't bother lying. He appeared in the doorway, his smile fading. What's going on? Who is Brianna Chen? I watched the color drain from his face in real time. I watched him calculate, searching for an explanation that would work, a story that would save him. Victoria, I can explain, he started. Don't, I said. I've already met her. I've already shown her our marriage certificate, our mortgage, our tax returns. I've already given her a tour of our house. She knows everything. Marcus sat down heavily on the couch. His hands were shaking. It just happened, he said quietly. I didn't plan it. That's your defense? I asked. It just happened? You accidentally rented an apartment? Accidentally maintained a relationship for 7 months? Accidentally told her I was your crazy ex-wife? He put his head in his hands. I don't know what I was thinking. You were thinking you could have both, I said. A wife and a girlfriend. 2 separate lives. You were thinking you were smart enough to pull it off. I made a mistake, Marcus said. A huge mistake. But we can work through this. We can go to counseling. I love you. You don't love me, I said, and my voice was steady. You love the life I provide, the stability, the home, the respectability. But you also wanted whatever Brianna represented. Excitement, maybe. Novelty. The version of yourself you get to be with her. So you just took both. He looked up at me with tears in his eyes. What do you want me to do? I want you to pack a bag and leave, I said. Tonight, right now. And tomorrow you're going to call a lawyer because I'm filing for divorce and you're not going to contest a single thing. Marcus stood up. This is our house. I'm not leaving. Yes, you are, I said. Because if you don't, I'm going to send every piece of evidence I have to your boss, your coworkers, your family, and every single person we know. I'm going to make sure everyone understands exactly what you did. Brianna has already agreed to provide a statement if I need it. You don't have leverage here, Marcus. You have a choice. Leave quietly and we handle this privately, or fight me and I make sure your reputation is destroyed. I watched him realize I meant it. I watched him understand that the woman he dismissed as stable and accommodating was not going to be either of those things anymore. He went upstairs. 20 minutes later, he came down with a suitcase. This isn't over, he said at the door. Yes, it is, I replied. It's been over for 7 months. You just didn't bother to tell me? He left. I locked the door behind him and stood in the silent house, the one I'd soon own entirely by myself. My phone buzzed. A text from Brianna. Did you talk to him? Yes, I replied. He's gone. I'm filing for divorce. I'm sorry, she wrote, for all of this, for not questioning his story sooner. You believed what he told you, I wrote back. That's what people do when they trust someone. It's not your fault. Thank you for telling me the truth, she replied. I know that couldn't have been easy. It was easier than living the lie, I said. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. Marcus didn't contest anything, probably because he knew I had enough evidence to make his life extremely difficult if he tried. I got the house, half of everything, and my life back. Brianna and I never became friends exactly, but we stayed in occasional contact. She'd ended things with Marcus the same night I kicked him out. Last I heard, she was dating someone new, someone honest. I saw Marcus once, 6 months after everything ended. He was at a restaurant with another woman, laughing, charming, playing the same role he'd always played. I wondered if he'd told her about his crazy ex-wife yet. I wondered how long it would take before he needed another life to run to. But that wasn't my problem anymore. I'd built something real, and he'd built something false. And when the truth came out, only the real things remained. I kept the house with the blue door. I kept my name. I kept the life I'd actually lived, not the one he'd invented. And that was enough.
You've just stepped into her revenge side, where every wound finds its justice, and every silence ends with truth. If her story struck a chord, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Another secret waits in the next video. See how her revenge begins.